Hey, it's Sam with a quick update. On February 20th and 21st, the moon is going to be in Libra, and it's going to be closely conjunct that Saturn, Rahu, Mars conjunction. This is February 20th and 21st. It will be the Thursday and Friday. And then after that, on the Saturday and Sunday, then the moon's going to go into Scorpio, where it's debilitated. Now, this is a very tricky time. So February, 20th through, the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, February 20th through the 24th, there might be some very intense emotional stuff coming up. You want to be careful, because, these are times, these are intense times right now. And, with the moon, wherever the moon is going, that's how we feel that day. It's the general feeling that day. Moon going into Libra, which is naturally an environment where we want to feel a sort of harmonious connection with others, where we want to feel a connection to beauty and love and peace and harmony, mainly with other people and with culture and flowing with that, with that joy of life, because it's ruled by Venus. When the moon goes there on the 20th and 21st, it's going to be join Mars, which is about, I want to be strong. I don't care if things are beautiful or not. I want to be strong and powerful. That's Mars. Rahu, which is just kind of, exploding things and exaggerating things and distorting them toward something more intense. And Saturn, which says, I want to feel safe and protected and put up boundaries to feel strong. It's just hard. That's a lot of intensity in that sign right now. So Libra right now has those three planets, which is putting a lot of pressure on that area of life, as I've been talking about recently. With those three planets in Libra, the give and take, the sort of harmonious interaction with our romantic partners or in business or all kinds of associations can be feeling pretty intense right now. Or if they're not intense, we just might not be so interested in showing up for it. That's the other thing that happens. Instead of saying, oh, I want to go out and, do this beautiful thing, or I want to, get together with this person, we're just kind of like, I don't want to do any of that. I'm just kind of like, we're just a little bit, maybe a little edgy and aggravated. So with the moon now going into that sign on the 20th and 21st, all of this is going to be at play, because the moon is how we feel and how we want to feel at that time. We want to feel this Libra energy, and we want to be flowing with all that beauty, but instead there's Mars, Rahu, Saturn, and it might actively engage us in this kind of drama and intensity. So be careful with that sort of drama and intensity on those days, and try not to get too depressed or upset if you're in a relationship that's having a hard time, or where there's a breakup or something. These can be challenging times, there's no question about it. But one of the great things about Saturn and Mars when they're together is they can really make for a lot of mental discipline, especially through things like Raja Yoga and meditation and these kinds of actions that strengthen the self. In fact, it's really one of the only things that's good to do with that area of life. Whenever someone has a Saturn-Mars conjunction in their chart, usually, like in their natal chart, usually, one of the best things they can do, or one of the only things they can do for that area of life, is to just face reality and be disciplined and be strong and, act with that kind of sort of grown-up, that sort of willingness to be a grown-up. That's the Saturn, and Mars gives us the courage to do that. Rather than wanting everything to feel good, a certain part of life is about doing what we know is right regardless of how it feels. And this is the greatness of Saturn and Mars, and the greatness of those malefic planets, which also includes the Sun. I'm not including the nodes here because the nodes just tend to modify everything, but Saturn, Sun, and Mars, which are the three what are called malefics, but again, that sounds judgmental. They're actually what are just called, they're just called the cruel planets, cruera, which means cruel. It means they're the part of us that can act with cruelty. And you might say, well, then the first thing is we sort of judge that. Well, cruelty, that's not good. Nobody wants to be cruel. But that's not true. We do want to be cruel. There are times when we want to be cruel. Someone's trying to assault your child, you're going to be cruel. And you need to be cruel. Someone's trying to take advantage of you or hurt you, you need to be cruel. Nobody likes that, but it's not just that. That's one extreme expression of the cruel energies. Something that's less extreme, the way we're supposed to use these cruel energies in everyday life is to have them harmonized with the gentle planets. Everything is about harmony. Everything is about, a balance, which I say with the planets in Libra. What I mean to say is we tend to indulge and go to extremes. The first extreme we go to is too indulgent. We say, I don't want difficult, hard stuff. I just want good stuff. Like, for instance, a child who just wants to eat candy. They don't want to eat broccoli. They don't want to eat Brussels sprouts. They don't want to eat vegetables. They just want to eat candy because it tastes good, and if you make them do something they don't want, they just scream and cry. We act like we're more evolved than that, and we are as far as diet goes, because we've thrown up after eating a gallon of ice cream or a whole bag of M&Ms, so we know, okay, we have to eat food that's actually good for us. That's an example of balancing sort of good with bad. But typically in life, we have a strong aversion to things that are going to require effort or difficulties, like, I don't know, I'm not going to like that, so I better not. But what happens is then we go to the extreme of the good thing. I just want nice people. I want to eat the food that tastes good and as much as I want. I want, this nice thing and good thing and no bad thing. Instead of saying, well, I can still enjoy this food, but eat the right amount and then mix it with the food that maybe doesn't taste so good but is the best for me, and find this balance. Yes, I can still have a piece of chocolate, but I also can get up and meditate. I can also do my exercise. Finding a balance between the, quote, cruel energies and the gentle energies is the real trick. And what happens is the cruel energies become very cruel when we avoid those areas of life. And sometimes we avoid those areas of life for a lifetime or lifetimes. And then in this lifetime, we have to face it. This is what you see when, for instance, when one of the cruel energies, like for instance Saturn, like a Saturn transit, when a Saturn transit comes and is very difficult, it's showing that the only way we're going to be able to face and learn this area of life, whatever he's affecting, is through some harsh, cruel thing, because every other time we've had the opportunity to live and, to actually, use that energy in a measured way, we avoid it. Like we have no boundaries, no willingness to be mature. So the only way that we're going to have boundaries and be willing to be mature is to become paralyzed and be in a wheelchair and have somebody die. That's the extreme Saturn lesson, because we've refused to grow up inch by inch, incrementally throughout life. We've just oh well, don't talk about death. That's bad stuff. I don't want to talk about that. This is what people do with Saturn all the time. They're like, oh, we talk about death. Oh, that's not nice. Oh, I don't want to think about that. And so when someone dies, they're completely unprepared. Or they have to lose something. Or it's like every time we lose something or we're threatened with losing something, we're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, what do you think you're going to do? We're going to lose everything eventually. So we just need to face it. It doesn't even mean it's bad. It's just we want to remain naive and childish. Saturn hurts us. When we want to just try to please everybody, then when we have to act with strength, Mars can be difficult, and we do it in a very reckless, extreme way. So again, when we harmonize the Venus energy with the Mars, then there's this healthy compromise between my needs and your needs, my individuality and your individuality. It's a healthy balance. It's not, okay, I'll do anything to please you, and then later go, oh, it's all about you, I hate you, and then this kind of horrible backlash because of these extremes. So, again, this is kind of what's going on with all these planets in Libra, with Mars, Saturn, and Rahu right now. We're really having to face a lot of cruel energy, and how do we actually handle, being mature and grown up about the, quote, harsh realities of life, which aren't even really harsh, which is Saturn areas of life, rather than remaining childish and naive, which is opposite of Saturn. And, how can we have a healthy individuality that's not completely selfish and at the expense of another, harmonizing Mars and Venus? So, Rahu is there just kind of exciting it all and blowing it up. So again, the 20th and 21st, you might really feel a lot of this with some force, because the moon is going to be in Libra, joined that stellium, and then it goes into Scorpio, where it's going to be debilitated over the weekend, which would be that Saturday and Sunday, 22nd, 23rd. So, realize that these could be some intense and challenging days, and just ponder the balance between the gentle planets, the gentle forces of life that want us to be happy, want to give us good stuff, and the, quote, cruel ones, which are really just about individual strength and accountability. We tend to have to wait until we've indulged in the good ones to then use the bad ones, and we go back to these extremes rather than having this harmonious mixture and balance between the two forces all the time. So if you've been riding those extremes in your life, you're going to feel them really demonstrated right now, and especially on the 20th and 21st when the moon goes into Libra. And if not, it could be a great opportunity for you to really, focus in and dial in those, quote, cruel energies toward a much more healthy and dignified solitude, which is Saturn, and willingness to face and be grown up about the consequences of your life and the meaning of it all, which is that we're going to have to let go of all of it at some point. So we need to connect with silence and truth. And Mars, which means we need to be disciplined about that. Discipline meaning I need to make the right choices every moment between my personal happiness in the moment, which is Venus, and the thing that I know is going to make me strong, which is Mars. Venus and Mars always have this kind of thing between eating all the food I want that tastes the best, which is Venus, and eating the right amount of food that's the best for me, which is Mars, sleeping a little longer and being indulgent, which is Venus, getting up early, being strong, doing your meditations and doing your workouts, which is Mars. There's always this kind of harmony between the two. So I hope this was helpful. A little lesson on benefics and malefics and how this is going to come into our life on February 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd.